Hey, welcome back everybody. Welcome back to my channel, AmusedJester. My name is Junior, and today we're going to be looking at Mezco Toys 112 scale, um, or 112 collectibles, the Mighty Thor. I've been waiting for this one for a very long time. I got this from Big Bad Toy Store, and I just wanted to show off, as part of the review, what I gotten from them. I usually don't have any concerns with Big Bad Toy Store, except when I was holding to this, I realized this is usually it should be like all these things are flush, but it seemed like this was a little bit bulkier than it should be, and then I noticed that this part is open like this. So I don't know if I received, seemed like it's been opened and then somebody put it back in and it wasn't put it back in properly. So seems like this is might have been an open package. So I don't mind that. It's supposed to be brand new. Um, Maybe they just inspected it for some reason. As you can see now, it's much more plainer. But if there's anything wrong with this thing at all, I definitely will be returning it. But yeah, that's definitely did not come from factory, right? Which is quite unusual from something from Big Bad Toy Store. So this one, it seems like it's almost been opened. Anyway, as part of the review, I suppose we should look at what's going on in the back. A lot of stuff going on with this one, a lot of accessories and everything. I really do like this kind of accessories, but sometimes it becomes to be heavy. So really nice. I believe this is, I don't know if this is something that they took from the Jack Kirby comics. It seems like it's his style. Yeah, man, look at that. This is the Thor that I really wanted to get, this type of style. So, and it almost looks like they got it, or Mezco got it correctly. But let's go ahead and pull this out because I'm really curious to see what it looks like, why it looks like that. So one of the things I definitely will be checking is how tightly this packaging is. It's pretty, seems to be an original packaging. It's possible that it just came like that from the factory. I think it should be okay. See, this is still tight, so it's probably just factory anyway. Anyway, so let's pull this out. So there's basically three initial trays. The bottom tray is basically the stand. And even though this stand occupies a lot of space and it's kind of hard because it's circular, this type of stand that Mezco has is the perfect weight and it's perfect area that you can pretty well do posing, using the pose of this bar to really make your figure stand properly. Alright, and I am more concerned about this one. Yeah, this definitely looks like it has not been opened, which was my main concern. Because there's no way you're going to be able to put this back. Well, there is, but it's just, I suppose if you're careful and if you're that type of person, I suppose you can. We'll inspect the heads immediately, make sure everything's good on this one. Just making sure there's no blemish or anything. Really, look at that. Actually, three types of painting going on inside that mouth. If you look, the inside of the mouth is a different kind of pink as the one that they used on the tongue. It's kind of amazing that they did that much, paid that much attention to the paint application. Nice eyes. Not realistic painting, but that's not what I'm looking for anyway. I am kind of looking for like a comic bookish type of painting where you see these highlights of strong colors on the outline, because I really would prefer that it follows the Jack Kirby style than anything else. If anything else, I'd probably would wish a lot more stronger lines on the cheeks to emphasize the shape, but that would be a little bit too much cartoonish. I think this is a good balance. So I'm pretty happy with that head sculpt. Let's look at the head sculpt on the main body itself. So here's the head on the neutral face. I like that. Look at that. It's like stoic, angry. I suppose I was initially disappointed by just having two heads, but aside from the neutral head and an angry head, I think that's pretty much all I need. Still though, it's kind of pricey. It's now $98, I believe, for Mezco 112 collection. It used to be what, $80? I did order their Hulk, and I plan on using the Alex Ross Marvel Legends Iron Man to go with my group. So technically I'm pretty much finished once I get the Hulk to get my classic Avengers. This part of the costume does worry me a little bit, because this, I don't know if this is actual leather. Actually, you know what, this might actually be real leather, and I hope it is. See, look, it's got that felt backing over there. I really hope it's real leather. It's a basic shape. There's no reason why it could not be. And that would be so much cool for its longevity. Oh, yeah, and they use the same thing in this one. All right, let's go to the accessories first before we go into detail, because I really need to pay more attention to the detail used on this body. So I think it'll just be easier for me to not pull this out of this tray, but actually just show it in the tray. That way we can see it all flat out. So we have two closed fists on the body itself. You have an open, closed gripping fist, two that has the one with the straps for Mjolnir, kind of like outsplayed hands, and two, I guess, flying hands, and two Mjolnirs. Why are there two Mjolnirs? Which is interesting. One, immediately what I can see from the differences is the straps. I mean, it's plastic, molded plastic, and it's fairly rigid. Oh, I see. This one is not. So the difference between the two, if you can see, exact same one except for the strap. This one is actually pliable. It looks like it's real leather, while this one is molded. Interesting. All right, so we're back, and a few things. I looked into the instructions because I'm completely clueless, and I found some interesting things. Being that even though there's only two head portraits included in the figure, there's a way so you can actually kind of change up the look a little bit by removing or disassembling this thing. You can remove the helmet and replace the hair. And the hair is actually quite pliable, so that's good. So you can have, I don't know though if there's any particular difference between the two helmets. Oh yeah, maybe you would consider that different. Or this is more straight, this is more flared. I kind of like the flared one better. And if you want to, you can do this. I like this. I like that they did this, and what initially was two portraits now becomes 4, and you can do that so that when he's flying, you can have him with just the stoic face and then have the hair going out. But I do notice it doesn't really help a lot in terms of tilting. We'll look into that some more afterwards. So that's that for the face. Now for the Mjolnir, actually this one right here is kind of interesting. So I guess we will have to remove parts of the hands out of this tray to look at it some more. So you have the spinning thing here, which is pretty good, I think, the way it's designed. It is kind of heavy though, so I'm still left with the fact that maybe this might pull the arm down. It's kind of interesting how they changed the color, where this one's clear and then it kind of gets heavier and heavier. It's an interesting solution. Now, so you have these two hands, which are almost the same, except as you can see, this one is gripping it like this, and then this one is gripping it like that. So they're two different ones. So this is kind of like, I guess, when he's flying, but how easy does this attach? Oh, look at that. So there's a disc inside. So this is when he's using it as a shield, and he's just deflecting everything down like so. That's pretty cool. I've never seen that before. And then this one, when he's holding it maybe on, oh wait, when he's holding it up in his arm like this, oh, he's probably using this when he's flying too. It's a good fit. Look at that. It really fits in quite snugly in there, and it's not like gonna fall off. I hope it doesn't loosen over time. That is pretty cool. And then for these two, you can either use this I suppose you can use this for this hand if you want him just flying like this. I honestly don't know why they would require two. This is good enough, I think, right? If you want him to hold it through the handle. I mean, like, I don't mind. I don't mind having two Mjolnirs. And then, so this effect over here seems can either go here on the top or in the front. I like that they were able to use basically the same exact accessories and mold it to the point where you can use it either way and it works. Right? So that's good. And then this one, let's see, I think this one is either the one on the top. Yeah. So this goes to the top like so. And then this one goes to the front like that, if he's smashing something with it. That's really cool. And this is for the front like this. We'll try to pose it. Like I've said before, I'm really a bad poser. But we'll try to pose all these things together and see if we can get something. I feel like a good figure lends itself to a pose, like even for a bad poser like me, to make it look really, really good sometimes. And then, let's see, this is actually having the windswept hair over here, gives it a bit of a dynamic figure. And I'm trying to, this is kind of trying to figure out how they did this chest piece because it feels like it's leather. Look at that. See how it's stitched together? It is leather. So I guess you can stamp leather into this kind of form now. I hope it's leather. And this belt, oh, that's really, it doesn't slide down, which I hope it does because as you can see, mine's crooked. Oh God, I hope this is not, this, okay, so that's not glued in, so I can at least adjust it in the front. But how is it in the back? Yeah, it is adjustable. This has to be molded. It cannot be leather. But at least I was able to adjust it so it's now even. But I don't know how they did this. This feels like leather. I don't think this is leather. I do know it's fabric because it's stitched, but I don't know how they accomplished this. So that's actually pretty cool. If it's real leather, then I feel better because then I don't have to worry about this one. If you noticed here on the pleated cape, it's actually stitched in there as well too. This kind of concerns me though. Oh, okay. So the cape is wired off to the side and also on the pleats. We've seen this kind before with the, I believe the Eradicator, but that's on a Mafex, right? And Thor, this is a good solution too. Thor has this really puffy looking cape that's always above his shoulders, which I always thought was kind of weird. You know what though? I kind of wish this cape would have been a little bit longer. Especially if it's supposed to be high up like that. My joints are nice and firm. And because this is Mezco, you pretty much have a really good range of articulation, as you can see. Ball jointed on the wrist. This is part of the forearm. How's the bend? Oh yeah, so this material does definitely restrict the abdomen, which is kind of a shame. But this is where you sacrifice articulation with form, or you sacrifice function with form. Mezco is usually really good when it comes to articulation. You still have a little bit, as you can see. That's his natural stance. So you still have a little bit, so that's okay. But you're fighting it though. I really hope this is leather. I mean, like, you can still pull it off. Yeah, you can still pull off some articulation going on here. I know this is a weird pose, but seems to be trying to lend itself to do that. So you see some bunching over here, which means it is, and it's not like it's springing back to its original shape because of the thickness of the leather. So it's still capable of doing that. A good sort of range of pose. This, I like the fact that this is thick, this whatever fabric they use in this one. One of the things I do want to compare it to is Gong Studio figures, because right now Gong Studio is the kind of like the competitor for Mezco for me, because if I'm gonna abandon Mezco, it's because of Gong Studio's stuff, because it's really nice. The fabric is tight and it's really fighting the articulation on the knee, which seems to be either just single jointed or the fabric is really fighting it. This is really tight. It's nice and tight that you can see the musculature underneath here, but because of its tightness, you're basically, look, it's not even a 90-degree on the knee. And you do have a twist a little bit on the boot cut. Nice up on the ankle, nice down on the ankle. The ankle is very nice. It's loose, but not too loose. So it's got a wide range of motion. This fabric, what does this feel like to me? It's not cotton. I don't know what this fabric is called. It's kind of furry looking in a way. I really like the feel of it though. All right, so we just changed the positioning over here, but look at how good this guy stands. We should actually just go ahead and put in something about this. So I'm kind of disappointed he's only got one hand that has the grip. Yeah, I guess we are accustomed to Thor using this one, but I mean, it would have been nicer to have both of them. I don't see why Thor can't switch out hands. Replacing the hand itself, it's pretty easy. It's not like you're afraid to change things out, and it's not even that difficult to put it back in. So that's a really, really nice balance between having. Oh wow, look at that! This is a really, really good composition that they used of in terms of rubber that they use for this hand. It's pliable, but it's sturdy. So this is where I say a well done figure basically makes the pose easier to do. I can basically pose it itself, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not a really good poser, but sometimes the figure just basically creates the pose by itself. And let's see, I'm kind of oops. I mean, the ankles are steady enough. Just not really good at balancing it. It's not properly balanced in the ankles. That's why it's kind of like that. Why aren't you balancing? There. Yeah, I really think like maybe the cape should have been just a little bit longer. Because like I feel like Thor should have like that kind of that's what I think of when I think of Thor's cape. Over exaggerated bulkiness. So this should be, yeah, maybe it is the right height, but yeah, definitely just a little bit longer. I don't know if it's my table or if it's just not really wanting to balance. So there's Thor. Let's put him alongside Captain America. I think it's my table that's really making it hard to have them stand side by side. So this is the Marvel Legends Iron Man. I think that's a good fit. Right? The bulkiness of the armor, I think that looks very well. So I really do like that. And you know what? You know, with the Marvel Legends where they have their Thor taller than Cap, I really don't like that. I know he's supposed to be a god, but I didn't get the idea that Thor would be so much more taller than regular people just because he's a god. But I feel like that is a pretty good proportion. It definitely does capture Kirby's kind of barrel-chested, wider look. I pretty sure this is the Iron Man version that discovered cap, but I kind of like that. But if I don't like that, I can always switch to the this version. Right? Look at the proportions in that one. This is the reason why I don't really plan on getting the Mezco Iron Man. I don't feel the trade-off between the price and what you're getting is sufficient. In fact, you know, now that I look at it, I feel like the gold Iron Man. Yeah, I know it's Marvel Legends. It's this got this really weird yellow plastic instead of the gold plastic, but that is a really good fit for me. That looks really, really good. So now I'm just waiting for the Hulk, and that will finish up my core Avengers. Of course, I don't have Wasp or is it Giant Man or Ant-Man first? I think it's Giant Man, but man, that is really, really cool. So since I don't have Superman, we'll just go ahead and compare him with Shazam over here. I should really try to fix this one. So one of the really main reasons why I started getting into Mezco, even though it was kind of expensive, on the more expensive side, but this is basically the reason why. Look, it's DC, it's Marvel, it's using the same buck body, and they can live within each other's world. And I would finally have my ultimate 112 representation of both universes, you know. But unfortunately, it's too slow. Mezco is too slow, and it's getting up there in terms of expenses. Now, in comparison, and this is what's really making it hard as a choice for me, is Gong Studios, right? Gong Studios, unfortunately, uses a slightly taller scale than Mezco. It's 112 supposedly, but look. And the thing of it is, if only Gong Studios had stick to this one to the same line, I would be like in heaven right now. But right now, plus Gong Studios is only doing DC, and so far Gong Studios is there's some hits and misses. Like, for example, like I said, like this is really, really ugly. Everything else seems fine, but this, I don't know, man. Plus Mezco right now, well, no, Gong Studio, this one I got for like $80. This is at $98 right now. If you're wondering, this is the other thing too I'm going to start doing with my reviews. This is $100. This is basically what's worth this thing is. Now, instead of like thinking like what is the value of 12 or 10, whatever, it's like I'm holding this in my hands, right? So it's, I can visually see what this thing is worth. This is what it costs to buy this figure. And you know, if you think about it, this is pretty good for what you're getting. You get two faces or two head sculpts, which you can interchange the hair, the head, the headpiece. It's got really good representation of exactly what I want, which is Jack Kirby. You can see it's a Jack Kirby style. You got the accessories of the hammer, two hammers, and then the rotating hammer. You got the accessories and all that stuff. I feel like with what I'm getting, actually, let me get these things out of the way because they're kind of distracting. But with what I'm getting, you get this spinning armor, two hammers. Let me, you know what, I'll leave the heads disassembled so you can see the potential of it. The effects, the hands, and let's not forget the stand. So when I'm looking at all this stuff and I'm looking at the money, what's more prominent to me personally, and I feel like the money gets hidden behind the figures. What does that mean? It means like I feel like it's worth it. Like the figure and accessories, all that stands more prominent to me than the money. And I'll explain this a little bit more than later on. I'm still kind of judging and everything. So I feel if I'm going back to my old value system, this would be, I'm going to say a 15. I'm really quite happy with what I got. Maybe not quite as high as a 15, but maybe around 14 or so. It's a really good figure. It's getting me everything I wanted. It's very, it's very reliable for Mezco. And when I thought that I would be going towards Gong Studios because it's cheaper, it handles well. Every time I'm handling Mezco, I see like, man, this handles just as good as Gong Studios. Is it just as articulate? It is. It got limited because of their choice of material. But the choice of the material when it comes to Gong Studios, right? This allows you maximum use of the articulation. Let's see. This is the same, usually the same body as what's being used with Thor. So he does have double jointed knees. Thor might have double jointed knees as well, but it's just so limited. I'm willing to bet that this particular piece of fabric only goes up to here and up to here maybe. It might be the same one. I'm not sure. But for sure, because of the tightness of the stitching, it's going to prevent any... I would not push this any more than that. You probably can, but you're going to start messing around with the stitching. I'm willing to bet. So even though it might have double jointed knees, it's not going to be apparent because of the limitation of the fabric. But this fabric feels so much more sturdier than this one. I don't know. I feel like... And this one's so thin, I feel like it's going to snag. This is not going to snag, but I feel like it might rip. But this is really good choice of fabric though, because it's got some sort of dull sheen to it. Like, it really lends well to capturing kind of like, this feels real to me. This feels more thin in terms of fabric. And then look at the difference between the two diapers or the two briefs. Right, this looks so much better than this one. So yeah, like I thought for sure like Gong Studio is killing it right now, but now that I'm handling Mezco against, like, I don't know, Mezco's pretty good, and the fact that I can, man, I really wish I could find my Superman one. Like you think about it, it's like they're both Lords of Thunder. Like, I wonder what would happen if Thor basically hit Shazam or Captain Marvel with a bolt of lightning. Will it just make Captain Marvel stronger? And yeah, I'm almost slowly getting used to calling this guy Shazam, but in protest, I'm always gonna call him Captain Marvel. I'm gonna try to not allow myself to be indoctrinated to be calling him Shazam, because he's not Shazam for me. He is Captain Marvel. Look at that. And you know what? I was just watching a documentary of Alex Ross where he was doing these paintings of Captain Marvel and the characters that came off of him. And yes, one of them is Thor. And the connection is that the transformation from Billy to Captain Marvel is where Jack Kirby kind of thought of the idea of when Thor was still constrained to the mortal form of... Who's that guy? Dr... Oh my god, I can't remember his name anymore. He's like a crippled doctor and taps his cane and becomes... Oh, wouldn't that be a really cool accessory for this guy? Oh man. But yeah, that is like, having these two together is actually kind of cool. And they're both angry too. So yeah, in terms of value, the money disappears behind the product. The product is so good, it just completely overwhelms it. And when that happens, when I feel like that's occurring, then they did a really good job. Yes, it's expensive. It's $100. I just wanted to hold this in my hands and show you guys. Yep, that's $100, all right. That's a lot of money now, right? But I'm telling you, this figure stands out quite well against it. And I think it's well worth it. I feel like this has to be the ultimate collector line for 6-inch figures in terms of posability, in terms of looks, in terms of accessories, in terms of value. Mezco has pulled themselves out of the mire that was dug in by the 1989 Batman, I think. So that's it for my review. Thank you for watching. I hope you found it enjoyable and informative, and I hope to see you guys again soon. Bye.